Hello YouTube and my fellow Grimmsters. This is Mystikaal, aka Sandra, and I'm here to do a recap of Grimm Season 2, Episode 20, Kiss of the Muse. The opening piece of Grimm lore is, "Tell me, O Muse, from whatsoever source you may find them." So we open on Nick and Monroe in Monroe's house, and Monroe's just come back from the farmer's market, and he's extolling the virtues of getting there early while the farmers are setting up. You get the best deals, and he got a great deal on some veggie steaks, and he wants to prepare a meal for him and Nick tonight, and you know, they're going to have themselves a little bro date with some veggie steaks. Monroe's very excited. So Nick heads off. He gets a call from Hank. They're going to meet up in the coffee shop. Nick gets there, and when Hank comes in, he's on crutches. So apparently maybe the actor hurt himself, and that's why they sent him off last week by wheeling him out in his desk chair. So, you know, they're not trying to get rid of Hank. Thank goodness. Okay. Need my hanky-panky. Anyway, so Hank comes in, tells a story of how he was ziplining in Hawaii. He went on the trip with his ex-wife. Who knew he had an ex-wife? But, you know, they're trying to see, you know, test the waters and see if they want to get back together again. And, you know, as they're discussing, you know, the things he's missed, the devil, some aliens, they hear a shot fired. So, you know, they head to the scene of the crime, and it's a bookstore, and there's a man, you know, dead at the table. He was, probably, you know, the author signing books, and Nick sees an otter-looking man with the woman. He's saying, "Oh, you're mine. You know, you can't leave me. You have to come with me." And he's the gunman, and Nick rushes in, and the guy gets away, and he runs up to the roof, and Nick is chasing him, and the guy, he jumps into the river and doesn't come back up. So, you know, he's gone. Nick goes back in to find out what happened, and he interviews the girl, and turns out that the guy who jumped off the roof was her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend. Her current boyfriend was the guy with the bullet in his head sitting at the table. And, you know, she said he became obsessive, and after they broke up, and she couldn't get rid of him, and you know, Nick is interviewing her further to get information, and she says, you know, men just fall in love with me so easily. I know it sounds horrible and conceited, but it's true. And she takes Nick's hand, and she brings it to her lips and gives it a deep kiss. And it's like, okay, have you not learned stranger danger? You don't just let people touch up on you. You don't know what they can have. Nick. So, you know, she's talking to him, and he's so engrossed, and you know, he's hanging on every word. And, you know, they finally she lets him go, and they walk off, and you can already start to tell that something happened there, you know, and he's feeling the effects of it. Meanwhile, Wu finds out where her ex-boyfriend lives. His name is Anton. So they go to his apartment, and he evades them. He, like, just as they're getting there, he's walking away, so they don't catch him. But they get to his apartment, and inside it's just chock-a-block full of pictures or paintings of this girl. Her name is Chloe, and you know, it's Chloe in different styles, and you know, different mediums. He's Chloe obsessed. Also there they find a picture of her current boyfriend with, you know, just laying down with massive amounts of blood pouring from him. So you know, it was a premeditated murder. He knew he was going there to kill him. And while Nick is there, he gets a phone call from Juliet, who wants him to come over for dinner. And, you know, he's kind of distracted because, you know, he's staring at all the paintings of Chloe, and he's just mesmerized, but, you know, part of him remembers that, hey, this is Juliet, the woman I love, and okay, that'd be great, I'll come over. But, you know, forgetting about his bro date with Monroe, by the way. But he picks up a picture of Chloe and pockets it and takes it with him as they leave. And of course Juliet, who can't seem to leave Monroe out of their relationship, calls Monroe to see, you know, how Nick feels about her yet again, and you know, that says that she's cooking dinner for Nick and he's about to come over, and she just wants to know before he gets there, you know, how to approach it and blah blah blah. And of course Monroe is like, he's coming to your house for dinner. I'm here cooking dinner for this man. He's like, see, he's such a wife. In the meantime, he goes over to Chloe's house, you know, because he's starting to become obsessed. He wants to be near her. He wants to speak to her, and he tells her that, you know, they haven't found Anton yet. And she's like, well, you know, you didn't have to come over here just to tell me that. And he says, well, you know, here, I wanted to show you this picture of the painting that she had done of her boyfriend being dead. And, you know, and then they start talking about, you know, how she inspires artists, and he wants her to explain how she does it. So she kisses him, and they just go back and forth, and she talks about how she senses the talent, the drive, the passion in the artist, and that, you know, she brings it out of them. She's their muse. And you know, if she wasn't evil, you know, tempting our poor Nick, I would like to see them together, because they had such chemistry together. Like, it was passionate, and like, ooh, Nick. And he never had that with Juliet. There's never been a smidgen of that with Juliet. And it was just, you know, I got a little verklempt, a little, oh, okay, Nick. So anyway, she's explaining, you know, how she's able to have this hold on men that she does, and she vogues into her Vesson form, and, you know, then she knows that he's the Grimm, and she gets scared, but he wants to continue. He says, I'm not here to hurt you. And then his phone rings, and it's Monroe to ask him, hey buddy, I thought you were coming here for dinner, but Juliet just told me you're going to her house. He had completely forgotten all about Juliet. And so, you know, he cuts it short with Chloe, goes over to Juliet, and by now the food's gotten cold, and he's like, well, you know, I got caught up on a case, of course. And, you know, so she starts saying, I just wanted to apologize because, you know, I've been mean to you these past couple of months. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. And she turns around, and he's staring out the window into the wilderness, because he's hearing Chloe's voice in his head, and he sees images of her in the window, and he's just all dopey and smiling at them, and, oh, Chloe. And meanwhile, you know, Juliet's yammering behind him, like, hey, Nick, I said I'm sorry. And he's like, huh? You sorry for what? What you want now? He's like, he doesn't hear anything she's saying, and she still keeps trying to talk to him, and he's just like, you know, he hears the voice again, and he turns around, and he sees her in her Vesson form in the window, and he's just so, like, you know, like a dopey schoolboy over it. And, you know, Juliet is just not getting through. She wanted, you know, to have a heart-to-heart with him, and he's just like, what? Who? Do I know you? Like, and then he comes with a excuse, and he's like, you know, I haven't been feeling well today. Why don't we do this another night? You know, thanks. See you. Gotta go. So they didn't talk. They didn't have dinner. He heads back to Monroe's, and Monroe's waiting there for him, and he's like, well, you know, how did it go? I know you know, it's supposed to be a big night. She wanted to discuss you know, things with you, and Nick is starting to, you know, get that crazy, and he starts snapping at Monroe. Okay, look here, I don't care what you're going through. You don't mistreat Monroe. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Not ever. Shoot. Somebody better put you over their knee and spank you. You don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, now, so they get into an argument because, like, Nick is like, why are you gorilling me? I'd get enough of that at work. You know, why don't you get a life of your own? And I was like, why don't you get a house of your own? You know, so he storms out. Juliet, again, calls Monroe to find out, oh, does Nick hate me? Like, Monroe is not your girlfriend. Cut it out. Anyway, he's like, I don't know what happened, but we just had something go on here. Let me speak to Hank, see if maybe something's going on at work. He calls Hank. Hank's like, well, I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but it doesn't sound like Nick. So let me find out where he is. Hank calls Nick. He's at a bar somewhere, so he meets up with Nick. And Nick is drawing a picture of the Vesson form of Chloe, and you know, he's all into it, and some obnoxious drunk comes over and is like, oh my god, that's so great. Are you famous? Should I know who you are? My girlfriend, she freaks and stuff like that. I'm just gonna take it over to her and show her, because she'll gonna love that. And you know, Nick is there, like, my precious, my precious, no, you cannot have the picture. And he's like, well, no, don't worry, dude, I'm not gonna hurt her. You know, she's gonna bring her my girlfriend, she's right there, I'm just gonna take it. And Nick hauls off and punches him in the gut, and you know, Hank has to calm him down, tell Nick to go ahead, tell the guy, look, you've had too much to drink, why don't you go sit down and shut up, and we'll just call it a night. And you know, even after all that hoarding of the picture, he leaves the picture behind. So Hank takes the picture and he brings it over to Monroe and Rosalie, so they can, you know, try to identify what this is. And they don't know what it is, so Hank says, well, if you two can't identify it, then how are we going to know what it is? And they're looking at each other, you know, exchanging glances between Monroe and Rosalie, and Rosalie's like, what? So Monroe takes her to the trailer, which, by the way, okay, they're the Scooby Gang, so it's okay that they're going to this trailer, I guess, to help Nick, of course. But too many people go to this trailer. It's like Grand Central Station. Okay, the captain's been there. You know, all of the Scooby Gang has been there now. Juliet. Like, anybody and their mother can go there. I'm going to be there next week if you want to come chill. Okay. Nick, this is the receptacle of all of your ancestors' knowledge and weaponry, and you need to protect it because someone is going to steal it. Okay, there's no booby traps, there's no alarm system, you have it parked on the corner of West Bubblefucking 3rd, like, you're hardly ever there. I'm worried about the trailer. I'm worried about the trailer. What are you going to do when the trailer gets stolen by some Vesson? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, you don't have any surveillance on the thing. You know, all they got is some regular old lock. Like, please, Nick, do something about this trailer. It's just too open to anyone and everyone right now. Of course, the Scooby crew, y'all go ahead and do what you need to do in there. That's okay. But still, Nick, you need to do something about that. Okay, so Monroe, Rosalie, and Hank head over to the trailer, and they do some bleary-eyed searching. You know, it's like way into the wee hours of the night, and they're just like, they're so tired. But you know, Monroe finally finds it, and she's a Muse, and her kind have a very psychotropic kind of narcotic or drug in their saliva, so when they kiss someone, you know, the person becomes obsessed with them and inspired by them, and it always ends in madness, death, and destruction. And there's no cure. There's nothing that they can whip up and give to Nick. So Rosalie figures that, you know, what he's experiencing, this obsession, could feel like love, and the only way to get through that would be to have the real thing. So just at that moment, in comes Juliet, who has been having memories again of the night that, you know, she went into the coma of when she was scratched by the cat, and Nick was so worried and thought it was a witch. And, you know, so she wants to go to the trailer again, by herself this time, so she can, you know, retrieve more of her memories from that night, because she thinks that it was something important that happened and she has to experience it for herself, by herself. So she goes to the trailer. She remembers that Nick told her about the vesting, and you know, everything that is said in the book is real, and he, you know, he can see them, and it's part of his family ancestry, and you know, so this sends her back to Rosalie and Monroe, and she starts to question them about what he told her, and you know, now she knows what vesting are, and you know, she thought he was crazy when he was telling her, but now she thinks, you know, she might believe him, and she asks if they believe him. Of course they do, because they know he's right. And you know, so they explain to her that Nick is currently under the influence of a woman, but it's not her fault because she's vesting, and that, you know, she's the only cure for it. So they head off to go find Nick so that they can cure him. Meanwhile, Nick headed back over to Chloe's house. Anton was there because he had broken in the night before, and you know, Nick tells Chloe, I want you, I want to have you. You know, he starts trying to make love to her, and she's like, oh, we can't because you're a Grimm. And he's like, that doesn't matter. And she's like, well, you're going to have to prove it because Anton's here. And, you know, he goes over and they get into a fight, and of course he's like, oh, you can't have her, she's mine. And, you know, like, there is nothing like a little blood sport over somebody you just met 3 seconds ago. But, you know, she tells him, I can't be with you until he's dead. So, you know, Nick is they're trying to kill each other, and there's the cop that he had stationed outside, came in and handcuffed Anton, and the captain came as well because they knew that Nick was headed there. And, you know, Nick is still trying to fight the guy while he's handcuffed, but Captain holds him back. They take everyone down to the station. So, you know, Anton's in the cell. They're interviewing Chloe, and it's Hank and the captain, and they let her know that they know what she is, and they tell her to you know, to stop what she's doing. And she's saying there's no way for her to stop it. She doesn't know how to stop it. It's just the way she was born, and she, you know, there's nothing she can do. And the reason that it's affecting Nick so much is because he's a Grimm, and he has so much more power than she's ever experienced. And meanwhile, they figured, where'd we leave Nick? Because, you know, he's acting all crazy. Why would you leave him alone? So, you know, Nick hears that the guy's been booked and he's in the holding cell, and he goes and down to the cell, and he's gonna shoot the guy because, you know, he can't have Chloe unless he kills Anton. So, you know, he's holding the gun on him, and just then, you know, Monroe and Rosalie and Juliet come in, and she's trying to talk Nick down, and, you know, it's like, Nick, just look at me, I'm here for you. Oh, what are you doing? And, you know, she finally takes his face in her hands and says, Nick, just look at me. And that breaks the spell, and he drops the gun, and he's like, Juliet, what are you doing here? Oh my God. It's so silly. It's like, okay, this stupid obsession, spell, potion thing, whatever, wasn't, you know, bad enough the first time. We had to go do another episode of that, and at least they didn't drag this one out. But it was just so stupid. Come on, you're repeating the same story in the same season, like. So anyway, the spell is broken, they embrace, he's hugging her, and, you know, he had dropped his gun, and Anton in the cell is trying to reach out and grab the gun, and, you know, the captain steps on the gun. It's like, really? It should be like the theme for this episode. Really, guys? Really? Again? Obsession? Yeah, okay. So, Captain heads back up to the interrogation room where they left Chloe, and he tells her, you know what, I'm going to let you go. And you're going to leave Portland, and you're never going to come back. And you know why? Because there's a part of me that doesn't wear a badge. And, you know, you're never telling what that part of me might do. So he vogues into his, I think it was a Zauberbeast form and scares her, and that's that. That is this episode in a nutshell. Be sure to comment, thumbs up, or subscribe, or whatever you want to do. Thanks again for watching. Bye.